Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Paragamalam Shri Guru and Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Bitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitamsya Om Jnana Timrandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Guruganarasi Shasambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Pataragam Govindabhidam Ujjwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwa Gurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Premno Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Varanam Balarka Chelan Shidam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyambudim Sri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishwara Sridharam Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're continuing with our reading of Sri Shikshastakam, the precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And now we're going to hear the second of the Shikshastakam verses. This is titled Unlimited Names of God. Namna makari bahuda nija sarvara shaktis tadrarpita niyamita smaranena kala etadrishi tabakripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva midrisham ihajani nanuraga namna makari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tadrarpita niyamita smaranena kala etadrishi tabakripa bhagavan mamapi Durdaiva midrishami hajanina nuraga. O my Lord, your holy name bestows auspiciousness upon all, and you have unlimited names such as Krishna and Govinda by which you reveal yourself. In your many holy names you have kindly invested all your transcendental potency, and in chanting these names there are no strict rules concerning time or place. Out of your causeless mercy you have descended in the form of divine sound, but my great misfortune is that I have no love for your holy name. O my Lord, your holy name bestows auspiciousness upon all, and you have unlimited names such as Krishna and Govinda by which you reveal yourself. In your many holy names you have kindly invested all your transcendental potency, and in chanting these names there are no strict rules concerning time or place. Out of your causeless mercy you have descended in the form of divine sound, but my great misfortune is that I have no love for your holy name. Illumination. Here it is said, O my Lord, you have revealed the chanting of your holy names, and all your power has been invested within those names. Both the holy name of Krishna and its potency are eternal. All potencies or energies are found within the holy name of Krishna, and there is no particular time or place which has been fixed for chanting the name. It is not that one can only chant in the morning, or only after taking bath, or only after going to a holy place. There are no such conditions. One may go on chanting the holy name of Krishna anytime, anywhere, in any circumstance. In this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, O Krishna, you have given a most sublime opportunity to all. You are so infinitely gracious that you have given us the service of your holy name. Namabhajan. Still my misfortune is the worst. I don't find any earnest desire within me to take the name. I have no faith, no love, no tendency to take the name. I do not find any innate hankering to chant the name. What can I do? This is the second of Sriman Mahaprabhu's 8 precepts. He says, O Lord, you have given everything from your side to lift me up from this mundane world of relativity. Your attempt to deliver me is so magnanimous that all you require from me is a little cooperation in accepting your grace. But I turn a deaf ear to your magnanimous call. O Lord, I am hopeless. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us great hope in the first verse of his Shikshastakam, or 8 precepts. He explains that the chanting of the holy name of Krishna, when properly undertaken, may progress step by step, revealing 7 consequences. The first effect is the cleansing of consciousness. The second is liberation from all mundane relativity. As the third effect, positive goodness awakens within our heart and takes us to Vrindavan. Then under the guidance of Swarup Shakti, the Lord's internal energy, Yoga Maya, we come to the Vadu conception. We are potency. We are to serve Krishna unconditionally. Vadu means that rasa dance which gives full connection with the Lord, Madhura Ras. Ecstatic ocean of joy. After attaining that stage, what are the other consequences that come? One becomes a particle in the ocean of joy, and that joy is not stale or static, but ever new and dynamic. It is purifying to the utmost. Although we are allowed to keep our individual conception, still we feel that all parts of our existence become purified to the utmost when we take the name. And this will not only affect me, but all who are connected with this Nam Sankirtan. They will experience mass conversion, mass purification, the utmost purification. These are the 7-fold results of chanting the holy name. After mentioning this thesis in his first verse, Mahaprabhu now gives the antithesis in the second verse. When such great hope is there in the holy name, why are we having so much trouble? Where is the difficulty? Why do we not realize the advantage of the magnanimous sanction of divinity found in the holy name? Inestimable grace is coming from Krishna's side. Inestimable grace is coming from Krishna's side. He has given us so many opportunities with the least requirement from our side. We must have some taste, some earnestness to accept the holy name. But there's the difficulty. We have none. So what hope can we have? How can we attain it? We may be approaching the holy name formally, but not from the core of our hearts. So by what process can we really benefit and make progress? The third verse answers this question. Although one may feel that he does not have the minimum required deposit to receive the grant, still it is not a hopeless case. So we're hearing the second verse, and the third verse will give some answer. But here, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is explaining, although one may feel that he does not have the minimum required deposit to receive the grant, still it is not a hopeless case. The very nature of this realization takes him to the conception of humility. When one begins to practice devotion towards the infinite Lord, he cannot but feel that in relation to the infinite, there is nothing of value in himself. He thinks, I have nothing to give in return. Even the minimal requirement for the Lord's grace is absent in me. Even the minimum requirement for the Lord's grace is absent in me. That takes him to the conception that I have no qualification, I'm completely empty. A devotee feels within his heart that he is not only unfit, but too despicable for the Lord's service. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I'm lower than a worm in stew and more sinful than Jagai and Madai. Jagai, Madai, Hoite, Mui se papishta, purishera kita hoite mui se lagishta. We should not be discouraged when we think we have not even the least bit of merit which is required for the service of the holy name. We should not be discouraged when we think we have not even the least bit of merit which is required for the service of the holy name of Krishna, for this kind of consciousness is natural for a devotee. At the same time, we must guard ourselves from an insincere conception of our own devotion. This is our enemy. To think, I do not have the least liking or taste for the Lord is all right, but to think I have some taste, some earnestness, some devotion for the Lord is dangerous. The egotistic world. If we are going to have a connection with the infinite, we must be fully empty. Our self-abnegation must be complete. Worldly attainment is a negative thing, and we must withdraw from it completely. We should think, I am nothing. I have no qualifications for being accepted or used in the service of the Lord. I'm completely unfit. We must completely withdraw from the egotistic world and allow ourselves to be captured by Yoga Maya, the Lord's internal energy. A slave has no position. The whole position is with the master. Everything is his. Realizing this is our real qualification. As soon as we assert that we have some qualifications, our difficulties begin. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says, I don't find a trace of love of Krishna within my heart. Na prema gandosti darapi meharo. This is the standard of humility. And that feeling must be sincere. It must not be an imitation. We must be careful. We must not venture to imitate the highest devotees, to genuinely feel, to conceive that we possess nothing and that everything is his. That is the only qualification for chanting the holy name of Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai. Unlimited names of God. Nam Nama Kari Bahuda Nija Sarvar Shaktis. Nam Nama Kari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarbita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishi Tabakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Idrisham Ihajani Nanuraga. O my Lord, your holy name bestows auspiciousness upon all, and you have unlimited names, such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you reveal yourself. In your many holy names, you have kindly invested all your transcendental potencies, and in chanting these names, there are no strict rules concerning time or place. Out of your causeless mercy, you have descended in the form of divine sound, but my great misfortune is that I have no love for your holy names. So this is under the second verse of Unlimited Names of God. So Srila Maharaj explains that in the first verse there is so much positive given by Krishna in the way that he's making himself available for the benefit of the conditioned soul, how one can progress in stages. Because, as it's mentioned, Namachintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purno Shuddho Nitya Muktam Binatvam Namanamino. That Krishna is non-different from his holy names. And his holy names are in the Shuddhanam, which is given by the Lord to his pure representative, to the saint. That holy name has all the potency of Krishna himself. Goloke Premidan Harinama Sankirtan. That name is descending to the qualified representative, we could even say the qualified agent who's distributing that holy name. We try to be generous with the Nam, Harinam, Siksha, giving the holy name to others, because the idea is that one has to receive the holy name from a devotee. One just can't begin by buying japa and chanting, but one should receive the holy name from the devotee. Now, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he would say that I have been asked by Srila Guru Maharaj, by Srila Sridhar Maharaj, to give this holy name to all sincere seekers. So I am considering that you are a sincere seeker. Now, it is mentioned in the offenses against the holy name that one should not distribute the holy name to those who are lacking in faith. But we are trying not to have distrust or to doubt the sincerity of someone who is saying, I'm desiring to receive the holy name, and I am trying to allow that holy name to come into my heart and to change my consciousness. So we're not in a position where we want to doubt the sincerity of someone. So the holy name is distributed, as Srila Govinda Maharaj said, to those who we see as sincere seekers. Then that holy name is non-different from the Lord. It is coming from the divine conscious plane. And so if one allows the holy name to enter within one's heart, then as we have heard, that holy name will take possession of all. But that requires some commitment. And as it's mentioned in this second verse of the Shikshastakam, Nam namakari bahuda nija sarvara shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kala itadrishi tavakripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idrisha mihajni nanuraga. In the second verse, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj is explaining, in the first verse something very positive has been given to the Lord, and one should receive the great mercy of the Lord. But as there is first thesis. Thesis means the Lord is giving out great mercy through the distribution of His holy name through His agents. So there is a great positive value being given so generously by the devotees. But as thesis is given, so also these antithesis will arise. And in the antithesis arise in the receptor, and one who's receiving the holy name. And that is where some difficulty arises, because in this verse it is mentioned that the Lord has given His holy name for the great benefit of the conditioned souls, and there are not even any hard and fast rules for chanting of the holy name. So everything is being given from the Lord's side. He's not asking for any kind of conditions of time and place. That is something that we find on the basis of normal religion. Normal religion is being given according to the time and place, according to the audience. And much is being given in that respect. But really, Krishna consciousness is not a religion, but is the internal engagement of the spirit soul in the service of the Lord, because this spirit soul is an eternal servant of the Lord. So naturally, one will engage in devotional service, and that is not subject to time or place or circumstances. One can chant the holy name in any kind of condition. So, nor do we even see that chanting the holy name is confined to a particular culture. As long as one has contact with the proper agents of the Lord, then whatever situation one finds oneself in, one can receive the holy name and chant the holy name, regardless of what one's personal environment is, whether he's involved in this country or that country or any kind of conditions, one can still chant the holy name, because the holy name can be chanted in one's mind. The holy name could be chanted softly, or as shown by Srila Haridas Thakur, the holy name can be chanted loudly. And so this is the condition. But here, the receptor who has received the holy name, in this case Mahaprabhu, is saying that this is the problem. Everything is coming from the Lord. Inestimable mercy is coming from the Lord, and not even any conditions, no hard and fast rules for receiving the holy name are being given. But my problem is that I don't have any taste for the holy name, and despite so much being given by the Lord's side, I'm not even able to properly receive and chant the holy name. So then one can ask, well, why is that? If the holy name is so sweet and the Lord is so magnanimous in giving the holy name, why don't I have the condition? Why don't I have the desire to receive the holy name? So for one, we can say that we may be in a situation where we commit so many offenses, and those offenses will interfere with our being able to properly receive and chant the holy name. Especially one has to be careful in terms of Vaishnava aparad, because that can take away any taste one has for devotional service or for chanting the holy name. Especially considering who is giving us the holy name, we are trying to be so much appreciative for receiving the holy name. So one has to be, we have so many, when a person receives the holy name, it's mentioned that person should avoid the 10 offenses to the holy name. So, and at the time of initiation, the spiritual master gives one some information about what those offenses are. And one of them, of course, in addition to the offenses of considering the holy name is equal, that to consider the chanting of the name of Krishna is equal to the chanting of the name of the demigods. Then also, or to blaspheme against the devotees. But the third offense is that to consider the spiritual master an ordinary person of this world, an ordinary man, or who has given one the holy name. And that will be very damaging. But at the same time, we also see that, I remember one time Srila Govinda Maharaj, he said that I am a fallen soul, and often he would speak like that. I'm a fallen soul. So it is the natural consciousness of a devotee to have a feeling of inadequacy, of not to consider oneself of any estimable value, rather to consider oneself as being unqualified. Even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't have any love for Krishna. I have no love at all. And how then persons can say, well, you are always standing by the Garuda Stamba, and at your feet there is a ditch that is full with the tears that you are shedding. And then Mahaprabhu describes that is just to beguile the innocent public. But actually, I don't really have any love for Krishna. And what is the proof? Oh, we are seeing that you have so much love. So what is the proof that you can say that you have no love for Krishna? And then Mahaprabhu says, if I had any love for Krishna, I would have died of the separation from the Lord a long time ago. And rather, I continue to maintain my existence like some insect as a matter of habit, that I'm bathing and eating and doing all these things, despite the fact that I should be completely overcome by separation from the Lord. Instead, I am maintaining my life just you can say, almost in an unconscious way. So Mahaprabhu expresses that, and Srila Govinda Maharaj said, and this will be the natural feeling of a devotee, not to consider one's sincerity or one's true great qualification. That's not the qualification of a devotee. Srila Sridhar Maharaj once explained that two persons came to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and they said something to the effect that many years, I don't know, 11, 15 years, I don't remember the number, but I believe 15 years, we are chanting the holy name, and still, after so much time chanting, we have no taste for the chanting of the holy name. And Srila Saraswati Thakur said, none? You have no taste at all? They said, no, we're chanting so long and we don't have any attraction, we have no taste for the chanting of the holy name. And then Srila Saraswati Thakur said, that is very good. He said, by hearing that, I have great hope for you, because you are saying that, you are feeling that way, that I have no qualification. I'm so unqualified. I'm chanting so long. I have no taste for chanting the holy name. He said, this is correct. And as we've heard here, that Srila Haridas Thakur, he's saying that he's the Namacharya. He's all the time chanting the holy name. And yet he said, I am lower than the worm and stool. Now, that is very strong censorship of oneself. I'm lower than the worm and stool. You won't hear people talking normally that way. That I'm lower than the worm and stool. If somebody talks like that, people will become alarmed. They'll become very alarmed. That's a very negative thing to say. They will react. But Haridas Thakur says that in all sincerity, that I am not totally unqualified. I'm worse than Jagai and Madai, because at least they were born in the holy land of Navadip and they were in a qualified family. Although their only great fault was that they were addicted to sinful activity. But he said, I am worse than them. And remember also Srila Sridhar Maharaj, in his introduction to the Prapana Jivanamrita, he says, first it's a commentary on Srila Rupa Goswami's famous verse where he says, even the fire lit by a barbarian will still have the quality that it can purify gold. Even though it's lit by a total barbarian, that fire itself, the quality of the fire is that it can purify gold. So I am also hoping that even though this work, this literature, is being presented by me who am so unqualified, still you as devotees can purify this by your natural grace, so that I'm hoping in that way. And I'm giving this this book to you. So he expresses like that, and he says, because even though it's coming from me, who am so unqualified still, because it concerns the divine description of Krishna and his devotees and their service, you will be able to draw some benefit from this literature, although it's coming from my dirty hand. He's more or less saying like that. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj, in his parallel verse about, in the introduction to Prapana Jivanamrita, he said, although externally, outwardly, I'm appearing dressed like a sadhu, but internally, I'm desiring the fame of a poet. In writing this book, he says, therefore, I am possessed of the incurable disease of insincerity and of duplicity. That's the way Guru Maharaj talks. And as a parallel verse, the verse given by Srila Rupa Goswami. So we see such qualified persons as Rupa Goswami, Guru Maharaj, Haridas Thakur, Mahaprabhu himself. They depreciate their own value. And what is the other side will be what is termed here as the egoism of thinking I'm all right. If I think that I have some redeeming qualities, or I have some sincerity, or I have some ability, that is rather a disqualification. That is coming from the level of false egoism, false ego. That I'm thinking like that. That I think that I have some kind of qualification. And that is seen as worse. Srila Saraswati Thakur, when the two persons said they had no qualification, he said, I am very satisfied to hear that you feel like that. And if you had said you had some qualification, I would be very much worried about you. So you can see. And what is it that Srila Sridhar Maharaj used to say? He used to say, the Lord is the positive, and the negative can attract the positive. So what is the negative side? The negative side will especially be expressed in the third verse. In the second verse, one is feeling, I have no attraction for the holy name. So there you can see at least a glimpse of humility. And humility, we can say, can be considered the negative side. And I'm not considering my worth or my value, but rather I'm considering myself as fallen. And it is described that when one devotee remarks, when I heard the Lord was described as Bhakta Vatsala, as very much inclined to his devotees, then I became totally depressed. Because the person is thinking, I'm not a devotee. The Lord is inclined to his devotees. But what about me? I'm not a devotee of the Lord. I don't have that qualification. I don't have that sincerity. But then when I heard that the Lord is known as Dinabandhu or Dinadayal, that he is very merciful to the fallen souls. He is the friend of the fallen soul. Then I became totally enthusiastic. When I'm thinking that the Lord is very inclined to his devotees, I was feeling totally unqualified and not enlivened hearing that. But when I hear that the Lord is known as Dina Dayal, Dina Bandhu, then he is very much merciful to who is Dina, who is fallen soul. Then I had some hope. Because then the person is thinking that the Lord is giving himself to who is the most fallen. We can say Mahaprabhu is coming from the highest position to embrace the most fallen jiva. Then I feel that I have some hope. Of course, one time I heard Srila Prabhupada speaking, and one devotee present there said, Srila Prabhupada, I am the most fallen. And then Srila Prabhupada answered, you are not the most anything. You are not the most anything. Get that out of your mind, that you say, just saying some words, Srila Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. And he answered, you're not the most anything. So someone is thinking, by saying this, I can redeem myself, but whether there's actual realization or sincerity in saying that. And of course, I also remember on one occasion when Prabhupada was talking to this audience, Srila Prabhupada, formerly, before he met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he worked at Bengal pharmaceuticals or chemicals. He worked as a pharmacist. He was making medicines, and later he distributed medicine. So Srila Prabhupada asked one devotee, he said, what is it you did before you met the devotees? And that devotee, very embarrassed, said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, I sold drugs. And Srila Prabhupada said, so did I. And Prabhupada was selling medicine. But in one sense true, because his medicine, nowadays, that medicine is prescribed, but in one sense or another, using that you can use the words that this medicine sometimes will be called, this is a drug, it is sold, some bottle of this elixir, or to use an old word, elixir, or pills. Sometimes doctors are referred to as pill pushers. But generally that's not inaccurate to say that Prabhupada was working with pharmaceutical remedies for diseases. So the devotee said, I sold drugs with great shame. Srila Prabhupada replied, I also did. So, but this, actually, if I have some consideration of my own disqualification, that is rather approaching the Lord with some negativity of my own worth. Of course, how sincerely I'm feeling that may be another question. I may express this feeling, or I may have this feeling one moment, and then the next moment I'm ready to take credit for anything that happens and seek praise and adulation. Yeah. Like we heard of the professional adulator who the king one time put out an ad promising some wealth or some position, especially the position to somebody who could be a professional adulator, or what we might call today a yes man. So the king is interviewing different persons, and he says, oh, I think you may be qualified for this position. And the person says, yes, I am qualified for this position. Then the king says, but then on the other hand, I'm thinking that maybe you won't be able to handle that kind of. And then the person said, no, please give me a chance. I can do it. And then the king said, dismissed. And then the next man came. I think you are qualified. Yes, I am. I am qualified. But maybe it'll be too much work. You won't be able to do the work. No, I can do the work. And then, no, dismissed. Then finally one person came in, the king said, I'm thinking that you can do this. Yes, I'm also thinking that I can do it. But on the other hand, no, you seem to me like you're not properly prepared. Yes, you're right, I'm not properly prepared. But then again, you have the ability to do this. Yes, I also feel that I have the ability to do this. But no, it's not going to work. Yes, I'm also thinking it won't work. And like this. Then the king said, yes, this is a qualified man. So that is a professional adulator. That in the sense the king wants somebody who will always agree with him, as many politicians do today. They all want somebody who will agree with them. And so the adulator has some value, that he will always be in agreement. He will never offer some opposition. But that is my disqualification. I also want some, like the king, I want some adulation. I want people to agree with me. I want people to tell me how qualified I am and how sincere I am. But that is rather my disqualification, to think like that. So I may express some humility. And I remember Srila Govinda Maharaj, he commented on the next verse, which is Trinada Pisunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Srila Govinda Maharaj commented that describes three qualifications that are necessary. One is humility. Two is offering respects to others without asking for any respect in return. And three is tolerance. So we can see it's very easy to feign humility. Anyone can act humble. And I may express some, thinking of this verse, I may falsely express some humility, just as Srila Prabhupada commented to that person, you're not anything, when he said, I'm the most fallen. I may express some humility that I'm totally unqualified. But how deep does that go? So I'm expressing, I'm totally unqualified, so that's all right. And I'm at least superficially, I'm offering respects to others. I'm saying that praising this person. Actually, this is not so much of a very good thing to be falsely praising someone. That is not real sincerity. But then, so I'm showing false humility. I'm artificially praising someone, the word would be a flatterer. That is not really appreciated, to be a flatterer. So I'm praising somebody and I'm showing some kind of false humility, trying to touch someone's feet. Well, it's very common. We see that in India. Even it's part of their, you can say, some people, it's part of their culture. They'll offer respect to some person by touching their feet. But then the third quality is tolerance. And it's not very easy to actually be tolerant. You can act humbly, you can offer praise or flatter somebody, but you will not be able to very easily show that you're tolerant. There is where the whole difficulty will come will come, because I cannot tolerate anything. As soon as something happens, which I consider the smallest slight, I'm offended. And there is the lack of tolerance. I cannot tolerate some little thing that will happen, and I don't have any real tolerance. So in that way, there is the quality of the humility of the devotee is of course very important. The second verse, the devotee is saying, the Lord is giving me so much mercy in the form of entrance into the chanting of His holy name. I'm being accepted, and I'm being given the holy name for my great benefit. But I don't have any taste for that holy name. Maybe my japa bag is in the corner of the room just gathering cobwebs. Like that. Anyway, this is a very important verse. Nam nama kari bahuda nija sarvar shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smarane nakala etadrishi tabakripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idrisham ihajni nanurava. O my Lord, your holy name bestows auspiciousness upon all, and you have unlimited names such as Krishna and Govinda by which you reveal yourself. In your many holy names, you have kindly invested all your transcendental potency. And in chanting these names, there are no strict rules concerning time or place. Out of your causeless mercy, you have descended in the form of divine sound. But my great misfortune is that I have no love for your holy name. So this is called Unlimited Names of God. And the next verse that we'll read will be the humbler than a blade of grass, Trinada Pisunichena, Taror Ivasahisnana, Ammanina, Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. This verse was always mentioned by Srila Govinda Maharaj. And why? Because he had the qualification of this verse, and he could give this verse out in a sincere way. One who is humbler than a blade of grass, more forbearing than a tree, who gives due honor to others without desiring it for himself, is qualified to always chant the holy name of Krishna. More forbearing than a tree, meaning so tolerant. And Srila Govinda Maharaj, he is it. For me, I always see he is very much embodies this verse. And he spread this verse everywhere. So in our next reading, continuation of the verses of the Shikshastakam, we'll read that verse. So for tonight, I'll stop here. We'll chant Hari Harai and then continue. I feel it's very important that the devotees will hear the Shikshastakam and consider how much is... These are Mahaprabhu's own teachings. He gave these verses, 8 verses given by Mahaprabhu himself. So how much is there? And what is Mahaprabhu's heart? Always expressing the heart of a devotee. Because he's not showing himself as the Supreme Lord, he's rather giving the mood and the heart of a devotee. What devotee? Well, that is up to the consideration of Srimati Radharani as expressed in his last verse of the Shikshastakam. But still, He's given us teachings with the heart of a devotee, the purity of a devotee, and the highest devotee, but still the great humility and offering respect to others and tolerance and considering the Lord is giving so much and I am totally unqualified. I have no taste for chanting the holy name. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Janardan Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaite Vignana Shabhishta Puran H.I. Gosai Jarmui Taradan Tasamar Pada Renu Mora Panchagas Tade Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame More Abhilash H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Kolabas Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottamdas Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottamdas Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Is that a cricket there? Or right by your feet?
Whoa. That's not a cricket.
Is this
That's a spider.
the spider? Okay. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Jo Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramansa Paravajaka Charyashta Tarasara Shishi Mad Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Ragana, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Ragana, Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Premsigo Shri Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvabaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shishi Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.